this counting down and says it's how we start off every show. Going, are we live?
Oh,
I think
it says it's live now.
I think,
but there's a black screen.
I think we're live. Oh, or you're watching the YouTube thing.
Yeah.
I always give it a few seconds to warm up.
Okay, we're live. Yeah.
I think we're live.
Hey, Paul.
Hello.
So that was quite a crunch we did last week.
Yeah. I want to first of all ask everyone to subscribe to our channel right off the bat, but I also wanted to apologize because we were very, very low energy last week.
Yeah.
I haven't even watched last week. I just remember
it was
towards the end you were like forgetting what you were saying mid-sentence and just going, I lost it.
We were really tired, and the very next day was the Freshwater Trust thing, and it went off wonderfully. It really went off well.
Yeah, I don't remember if we explained that the project that we showed last week. So if you watch episode 6, we did a walkthrough of a project we were actively working on. It was mostly done, but we had a lot more stuff to do. And that was on Wednesday evening. And then Thursday evening is when it actually went live in a public event. And so that Thursday morning, you and I went to the venue and just worked the entire, like literally up to the last minute on tightening up, adding stuff, fixing things, changing things.
Right.
Getting feedback still. And then getting all the devices prepped, including sterilization. And moving the build over and all that stuff. So yeah, I don't know if we explained how like that thing was. We were on the ragged edge, and that's why we were so haggard when we talked about it. But I think, and you were there for the event. I left just as the event was starting. You ran home, changed clothes, and then came back.
So Paul wisely bowed out of actually being at the event because there was 400, 500 plus people drinking alcohol and being really close to each other and shaking hands. And so I was kind of sitting behind my desk. Every once in a while I would come out and help people, but I was just covered in antiseptic wipes. I was just like doing this the entire time.
And that was before like the reports of the COVID-19 is it's doubled like every other day. So this was a week ago. Right. And we were already starting to get paired. We'll talk about it a little bit more, I think, but yeah, I that was one of the big reasons for me to not go. They also had a bunch of volunteers that were supposed to run it. So I think we talked a little bit about it in the Discord. By the way, is my mic blowing out? I just saw my levels go way high.
I don't know. It sounds good to me.
Okay. We talked about it in the Discord. I think looking back, it was like the most minimal constraints you could work with. Right, the time frame was too tight, the budget was too small, and the expectations were probably really high. And we did the best we could in that triangle of good, fast, or cheap.
And to their benefit, I think that the client was super understanding of those. Those type
it's a nightmare if they're not. And but I think looking back, when Spencer originally asked me to work on it, he was like, "Oh, we should use image tracking because we're going to build this special table," which we showed some pictures of. In the chat on a Twitter account, we could just anchor it to the table, and I was all Mr. Jaded AR guy and was like, oh, we don't use the image tracking. We can, and I did look into using spatial anchoring briefly, and then I was like, well, we can just put it on the table manually, and I didn't think about how big of a pain that is, or how scary that is.
Yeah, that was part of the feedback was that the volunteers spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to twist things around and move them and put them on the table correctly. So yeah, definitely next time we do something like that, which is probably going to be soon, we want to have a marker that goes with the app. and they get the app and the marker, and then they can replicate the marker all they want to, and they can use that thing to show it off, because then it just snaps to it.
I'm just so emotionally scarred from the 2010s use a printed marker. I've actually
Euphoria.
Yeah, and so I'm always like, we can do it markerless, and in this case, I do think for an app that's going to be distributed publicly through the App Store, certainly requiring a printed marker is a bad idea. But this was an event-based thing. We only built it locally. We pushed it to each device locally. It would have been totally fine, and it would have made things go a little smoother. So,
did you got that image I sent you of the magic mirror that we built in Santa Cruz?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Can we show that or not? I mean, it's just the hardware, right?
Yeah, it's all off the shelf stuff. Let's see. Who did you send that? You sent that to me. Did you text it to me?
I think I texted it to you.
You did. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can
put that up.
See if I can share. We're going to try.
That one?
No. There we go.
There it is. So we were, brand new at Magic Leap. We'd seen the benchtop and we'd done a little bit of work on it, but we had to do development in Santa Cruz. And so came up with this idea to just get a nice high-res, good color flat screen monitor, put it on a tripod, and then put a nice high-res, like at that point high-res 1080p webcam on it. And then we used the Euphoria, and we knew how far away. We basically just plugged it into a PC, used Euphoria, and we could do all of our dev with zero iteration, through Unity, and we could, do proof of concept for how things looked and how things felt on the table, lighting and stuff like that. It was actually really useful until we were able to get our hands on,
this is
stuff.
This is nothing exotic or secretive. It's a monitor and a webcam on a tripod. And they were running to the PC, and it just so happened Euphoria supported a PC webcam. It's like having a phone connected to the computer to iterate.
But this was back when there were no phone AR experiences anywhere. Like, this is the only way you could really do it. And I remember the engineers back in Florida were like, "How did you do that? What is that? What are you doing?"
Yeah, it was all off the shelf. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the recap from last week. Sorry about the low energy, but that was some real XR talk, XR real talk, XR talk, real talk.
It was XR Talk Cribs edition.
Yeah, late night after dark, XR Talk after dark.
Right.
And of course we're already moving on to the next projects. Which had already some of them had been started even during the freshwater trust thing, but then you've been working on a new one that you're gonna get to sharpen your photogrammetry chops on.
Well, so there's a project that we're bidding down in LA for a really cool new building, which is a new building, so it doesn't exist yet. So there's only CAD data. So at that point, photogrammetry kind of becomes a non-thing. But the place we can use photogrammetry, like drone photogrammetry, is for getting patches of groundwork. So if there's going to be rolling grassland in the middle of this quad or something like that, we can go out and get that. Or just build it ourselves. I mean, there's a trade-off between when do you use photogrammetry and when do you use CAD data, and then hire a talented real-time 3D artist to come in and massage that and bake light maps into it and texture it correctly and stuff like that. And for this one, it's going to be CAD data. I don't think that there's any reason to use photogrammetry other than to maybe loft it above the site and get a 360 of the environment.
But the building doesn't exist yet anyway, right? So there's no way to scan it anyway. But you're saying that you would maybe consider scanning the property where it's being built.
Maybe scan the property just to it depends. It really depends on how far away things are and how detailed those pieces need. Where's the user going to go? Is it, there's just a lot of different things that we have to think about before we go out there and shoot. Pre-production on these kind of things is really, really important. You
Does it also matter what you're using the model for? Like, is this going to be VR, AR, or like, is it going to be a dollhouse scale, or is it going to need to be? Any of that stuff?
This is a real world AR experience from the POV of someone walking through the front door of this space. So it's a little bit of the outside of the building and a lot of the kind of atrium, amazing entranceway.
So what's AR about it?
It's iPad AR.
Okay, so you're immersed. You're not seeing the real world at all.
That.
Or can you say?
No. You wouldn't. No. So this is.
So it's just using AR. It's using ARKit tracking to give you 6 DOF camera.
Right. So so that is it VR.
Well, yeah. I mean, I just call it immersive. I don't know. It
right.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, when we first started Torch, I used to say this often. I was so down on that idea of 360 video or 360 immersive on a mobile phone. I'm just like, just do it in VR. And when you want to see something in AR, you use a phone. And it was just me being stubborn about it. And then when I finally looked at something, and I think we were in Torch, we were playing around with something at scale, and it was like, oh, it's tiny on the table, but if you hit it, it's real world size, and then now you can look around it. I was like, no, there's something valuable here. There's some, I mean, you can walk around. And actually, we did a thing for Autodesk in their big conference, Autodesk University, and we were talking to a bunch of civil engineers and stuff like that, AEC people, architecture, engineering, construction. And they were like, we like using Torch to previs these construction projects and even present them and pitch them. But we want to be able to walk through them. And I was like, oh, you can totally do that. And so they gave us a CAD model of a big shopping center. And it is zoomed out. And you can see there's a shopping center has multiple parcels being built out in the parking lot and all this stuff. So you could actually pick what you wanted to quote unquote zoom into, and it was really all the same model, and it went back. It went up to 1-to-1 scale, and then I handed one of the engineers the iPad, and I said, walk to that car that you see, and we were in this exhibit hall, it's like, walk to that car, and they walked all, and it was probably a good 50 feet they walked, and they're like, they turn around, I'm at the car, and I don't think people use that enough, actually. So that's interesting, and it's definitely a device everybody has,
Well, and it's the reason that we're being asked to do this is because the client has tried to do a VR experience, and the folks that he's been showing it to, the donors and the folks that he wants to convince to invest in.
You mean organ donors?
No, these are cash donors. That they don't want to put something on their face. They don't want to. And even now more so. Right. That the whole viral, concern is out there, and so holding something in front of them like this is more familiar. They can always take it off and look around and be in the world, but then they can bring it back up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you also get that all that seamless switch to AR if you want it. So I think
Right.
that's what's cool. Like, oh, I'm in this. I'm walking around in a large space but I'm looking through this magic window on my phone or tablet, and I'm immersed. And when I'm looking through it, and then I can zoom out to a little mini map or whatever, and I'm very seamlessly, and I can also look
Right.
around at the real world.
Well, and it's not going to make you sick, and you're
Yeah,
right because it's not taking up your whole view. That was one of the things that I noticed people doing at the immerse thing that we did on Thursday night was they were getting
that was the name of the event because it was for freshwater
immerse, right?
trust. It had nothing to do with
Immersive content,
technology.
right? But I noticed so many people like getting way down inside and like looking at the little people that we built, and looking at the following the helicopter along. I mean, like once they understood that there was a 3D model that they couldn't see without this device on the table, then you could watch their brains kind of go click.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. And then they would really explore.
Which is,
But at first
I think we were worried that people wouldn't do that at all, and we were going to encourage them to, like,
right.
especially moving around. Moving around is always the first thing I tell people. It's like we're so used to sitting still. We're so used to when you're looking at a mobile device to not move because you'll walk into something, and then
Right.
and we're all just kind of lazy. So whenever you're like, especially in Torch, we had this happen so many times. People have built an entire scene without moving their vantage point, and they think they've perfectly arranged it, and it's like,
just like this.
yeah, it's like it's in the other zip code, and it's real huge. So that's always the tell people to move around because you just don't have the parallax, and you don't have the 2-eye binocular cues that you get where you would know, oh, that thing is huge and way too far away.
Right. Well, that a dry cough. That I think I froze. Did I freeze?
Yeah, you've been freezing a little bit.
Okay. Speaking of dry coughs and all of the alcohol wipes that we used that night, and a little bit of Paul not wanting to be there for the onslaught of virus donors. COVID-19 is happening, and it's really, really happening. And everything was depressing. The top of the depressing list was a big, giant virus map of the world, and how much the coronavirus is like all over.
So Spencer, you are breaking up a lot. And I think it's because
why am I breaking up?
So many people are working from home and soaking the bandwidth in your neighborhood. So you broke up quite a lot. So I am going to share something related to what I think you were saying.
Oh shit! Really? Okay.
Let's see here. So we talked about these guys a couple weeks ago, the Flow Immersive people, and they were doing some Magic Leap data viz stuff, and they actually did I'm going to try to bring it up so it looks good. They actually did a virus data viz. So let's see. I'm going to go here. There we go. And I'm going to try to go full screen with this and see what happens here.
Nice. That's the map.
Yeah, so he's talking. Unfortunately, Spencer can't hear it. But he's actually, I'll mute it so we're not talking over it. But what he's showing is how complex data visualizations might be interesting. We always hear people talk about this for headsets, and so he's doing a lot of setup here, and then he shows he shows the progression as it goes, and you can kind of see. I think the first time he did this, he did it in his garage, and then he did an update in a conference room. Let's see. So now he's showing
It's really cool.
the growth. Yeah, I think let me see if I can zip up here, and he starts to show how things are growing.
Right.
So yeah, kind of topical. I don't know. I hear about these, and then this is obviously like raw data shown 3-dimensionally, which is kind of interesting because if you look at it straight,
not really.
but not really, right? I mean,
yeah,
like a 3/4 view of this graph would probably do the same thing, right?
Right. Or what's the third dimension?
Well, it's each so it's actually 3 dimensions. The time is on the what I would call
X,
is the Z,
right.
And then you'll see. Oh, I backed way too far. One sec. You'll see the x-axis. What I would call the x-axis is actually the country. So you can see right here, and
okay.
and then you've got time. And so if
it's
you look,
not really data, it's a demarcation. It's not data though. It's just number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
well, I mean, they're showing over time how each one of these grows. So I guess if this was really complex, like if all these rows were really spiking up, you could look at it from a different angle really quickly. But I don't know. Yeah, I've always wondered about like the 3D graphing calculator example that we hear all the time about this stuff.
Right.
But yeah,
getting a bar graph in 3D. It's was it Edward Tufte in his books is always just railing against the making things unnecessarily dimensional. When they don't have an actual third dimension of data.
Yeah, but I mean, all this stuff is bringing some attention to VR and AR. Lots of people working from home who are used to collaborating together. We've talked about doing this show in VR before, just as an experiment. I've been looking at. I've done stuff in hubs before. There was a spatial design meetup that was hosted every month in hubs. And what Hubs is by Mozilla, and it's really cool because you can get into it from VR or desktop or mobile, and so it's very accessible. You can have a bunch of people in one space. The avatars are very simple. You can't create custom ones, but the ability to share things, to me, that's the most important. Like when we do this show, like I want to be able to jump into a browser. I want to be able to bring up a video. I want to be able to do I want to be able to have access to all this media. And that's the problem with a lot of these VR kind of meetup environments, is pulling that stuff in. I think I did find one. I'd have to look it up again. I found one where you could bring a browser. You could bring a 2D browser into the environment. I think it's big screen, maybe. No, I think there was another one.
But this was all Magic Leap?
No, this is all VR. Which is what a lot of people are going to be looking for, right? Because you can pick up a Quest, or a lot of people have desktop VR cheap.
No, well, that's a question I actually have. Does Quest have the ability to use the cloud storage APIs that are available? Like, can you? Because I'm just wondering why, Tilt Brush. I haven't checked it recently, but until probably a couple of weeks ago, you couldn't get something from the cloud in Tilt Brush. And what's the other one? Gravity Sketch. They had their own cloud thing you had to sign into, and it's like, well, why aren't people just allowing us to use iCloud or Dropbox or Google Drive? Is that
well, I think they're
development environment, or
no, there's not a technical reason for it. I mean, the Quest is an Android device. It's connected to the internet. It runs applications.
Right.
It's just Oculus is putting a priority on games, honestly, and not a lot of productivity. And so Think about your average Quest user.
Okay.
How much do they really want to share? How much do they want to pluck files in and out? Of
Right. No,
them.
I'm an atypical user.
But I mean, I was talking to Estella Say about this last week because she's a VR artist, and
yes, she is.
yeah, she wants to, and she's been using Gravity Sketch and Tilt Brush. Oh, Tilt Brush is obviously her favorite. And then should I do my head like this so we make
Oh,
one
sorry.
one
there we
person?
go.
I thought we were gonna make like a Voltron XR talk. Why? It's every time you touch your device, your internet just goes to crap.
Let's do it. There you go. Come on.
You know what that reminds me of is the Incredible Hulk TV show when he's like, that's dating myself a little bit, but anyway, yeah, I mean VR collaboration is there's a lot of options, but it's not perfect. And yeah, getting files in and off the Quest, like the Quest is the ideal price point and form factor for this stuff, but it doesn't really have the workflow part of it. So that's kind of a bummer. But if other people in the chat, our chat's been really quiet today. It's like
guys, it looks like we have Noah in there, and that is it. Hello, Noah.
Yeah, guys, come on. You can let's collaborate virtually through the chat. But I mean, yeah, I could talk about spatial. Of course, I teased it a little bit. So the backstory is so there. If you go to Spatial, are they just Spatial XR.io? XR.io. No, that is not it. They might just be Spatial.io. So anyway, there's this company called Spatial. They do collaboration. It's Spatial.io. What's interesting is they are a collaboration platform. They want to use avatars and spatial relationships to show content and create spaces, and you can log in from all kinds of devices, which is cool. But they've been very geared towards the enterprise, and in particular, they started off focusing on HoloLens. And man, Spencer, did you downgrade your bandwidth this week or something? You're just a big compressed blob. Maybe it's me.
I don't know why. I think it might be.
It might be me. Oh my god! I got like one syllable out of your whole past two sentences. Hey, is in the chat am I also Cylon robot talking compression like Spencer is? Or is it just Spencer? Usually I try to turn off my my streaming stuff, and I forgot to, so maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Spatial's been... see, Josh, the CTO, said it's Spencer, so it's me. It's not me. So anyway, Spatial started off focusing on HoloLens, obviously because of their enterprise focus, and they've always talked about doing cross-platform stuff. They've got Quest support, and no, stop talking trash. Spencer's talking trash in the chat while I'm trying to talk.
I'm not. No.
Yeah, you are. Well, there's only two people that have access to the XR Talk account, and it's not me. So anyway. Also, Magic Leap. So they announced Spatial is coming out for Magic Leap. I was like, oh, that's great. That's cool. We actually talked about building an application very similar to Spatial while we were at Magic Leap for a long time. And so I really wanted to see it. Magic Leap's been promoting the crap out of this thing for the past week. And so this weekend, I was like, you know what? I got a little time. We finished that project. I'm going to play around with this. And so I went to go try to download it and use it, and I couldn't sign up. And then I tweeted about it out of frustration, and it got this huge. I got a ton of people retweeting it to the point where the folks at Spatial reached out and apologized, and I totally didn't deserve an apology. Oh my! Now Spencer's just dark. What are you doing? Can you turn off stuff at your house?
Switching. I'm gonna try to switch out of this phone. I think it's the phone.
Okay.
So.
Are you on Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Do you have wired connections at your house? You need to get wired, brother.
Something really bad is happening over here. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. This was actually my biggest fear the first time we did a show, and it's gone so great. It makes sense that episode 7 that we would have bandwidth issues. And also that it would be you that have the bandwidth issues and not me. That makes a lot more sense to me.
I'll be back in a moment.
Okay. We'll all wait.
Yes, everyone.
Sorry, guys. This is what happens when it goes live. We'll see what happens. Again, I'm not surprised. I thought we were going to have this type of trouble before. Yeah, this is the Halloween episode. We don't talk about our beers on this show very much, but since I'm vamping for time, I'm drinking a Long Story Short, which is the exact opposite of the spatial segment I'm trying to cover. It's a short story going way long. Yeah, Spencer just needed to flush his bandwidth. He's got a bandwidth plunger, and he's going to fix it. I know, yeah, Cole. I know Spencer's picture was beautiful just before he hung up. It's like an engine before it explodes. It's on the edge of blowing up. Oh, what have we got? Oh,
good Lord!
Oh wow.
I'm sorry.
Are you on your headphones?
No, I'm not on my headphones.
You're not. You know what? Also, your Snapchat camera is up. In case you didn't know, Snapchat makes a desktop app called Snap Camera, and you can run it. And when you run it, it emulates a webcam to your OS, and so you can point your video conferencing apps to it, and then you can run Snapchat filters on yourself. With a lot of people working from home, that might be a fun tip to spice up your video conferences. Hey.
Hello.
Now you look like a Blade Runner, Spence.
I am Blade Runner, Spence.
Oh my God. Do you have a mic? Are you on?
Do it sound terrible?
You sound kind of terrible, but it's better than not being able to understand what you're saying.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah, I mean, I could set up a mic and we could do Spencer sets up his mic for 15 minutes, but let's just go back to what we were talking about.
I don't even remember what we were talking about.
It was important.
Nothing's important in this show. I was talking about Spatial. So anyway, the very nice people at Spatial reached out to me and said they've been completely swamped by the sudden interest in people wanting to work remotely, obviously, and they're still a startup, and so their sign-up process was there's no self-service sign-up. They have to whitelist the domain. There's not really a good onboarding, and that I don't mean that as a dig or critique. I think it's because they've come from enterprise land where probably when they sign up a new account, they train everyone and they walk people. And they did offer that to me. And so all of this is to say they were very kind. They are very open to feedback. They are completely swamped in a good way. And this is kind of me sharing what I saw. But I was not trained on it. I probably don't know half the stuff it can do. And probably my biggest crime is I didn't actually collaborate with anyone in it. So this is just me by myself playing with it. I'm going to see if I can get Spencer in it. But anyway, so this is the mobile app to start. And what I wanted to show was the sign up process through the mobile app. But since I'd already signed up, I'm already signed in. So this is on an iPad. And so I'm going to run it and just kind of talk through it. Do
you want me to go get my my Quest?
No, because you can't. There's no. I don't know. They say they support the Quest, but there's no Quest app because
Okay.
and plus you can't create an account because you got to have a whitelisted domain. So
Oh, right.
so yeah, so those are all the caveats. But I know a lot of people are interested in it after I tweeted about it, and I thought it was cool to show a peek of it because there's some really interesting stuff going on here. So anyway, this is the mobile app. I'm logged in. This is my account screen. This is where you can say. This is where it shows the different devices they support. So there's the Quest right there. You can see my avatar. So
Wait, I can't see any of this now.
oh, because I'm not screen sharing you anymore.
Sorry. Hey, I tried to do the right thing here, Paul, and I failed. There we go. Now I can see me.
So I picked a photo to start, and
is that a photo of you?
yeah, so that's the coolest thing that I wanted to capture in the sign up process. The way they generate an avatar is really cool. So they generated that one from a old photo, and they mapped really well. But I am making a really funny face, so I just wanted to see what it would do. So anyway, I'm gonna
That's
hit
your
play.
default face when people are like, "Hey, everyone, smile." That's your face.
So like, see, they did a really good job of mapping that automatically. So anyway. So anyway, I thought that was really funny, but I'm actually going to make a new one. So I wanted to show people how this works. So I'm on my iPad. I've got hat hair, of course, but you don't. So just to play that back because it happens so fast. They don't have you do like the head roll thing, like
Just snap it.
yeah, it's not like what Animojis do or the Memoji on
Right.
Apple. It's like it's a snapshot. I thought it was taking like a depth thing. So anyway, I'll show it one more time. You get your face framed, and you just take the picture, and it's immediate. And then you choose your body, and it's basically a male or female body. And then this is the process. I just thought this looked really nice. It's like it's like a nicely designed thing while they're baking out your face mesh.
I like the way that they're using normal map colors. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's not actually a normal map, but it's got all the normal map colors to it.
So then this is that's my new avatar. It's really I was like it got my hoodie hood, and I was like, well, that just means I have a chip on my shoulder.
Yes, you do.
But anyway, I mean, for how fast that is and what it is, we've certainly seen much worse things. So when you're in this main view, this is the main view when you're logged in. It shows you all your quote unquote spaces. And
I cannot wait to make an avatar here.
So so this is on. Keep in mind, this is on the iPad. So in the iPad, I jumped into the XR Talk space, and so what that means is if somebody else was in the space, I'd be able to see them from my iPad.
Mm-hmm.
And then this was just me playing around with the different actions that you can have.
So are you always in third person like that? So you're kind of doing the Sims thing, or do you go first person as well?
Well, again, I have not been fully trained on this software, but this is all I could figure out how to do on the just the iPad. And then you can upload media. There's my breakfast and beer photos. And so when you upload media, it does show up as available content in the space. But I couldn't really figure out in the iPad how to manipulate things. And that, again, this is probably all my fault. I did want to check out. So you can live stream your video. So that's me in the upper center of the screen. I turned on the webcam. So if you did want to have a video call in the space, you can do that. As far as I can tell. Again.
Oh my God! What if you mapped the video onto the face?
Yeah, I wonder why they don't do that. Actually,
That's terrifying. Actually, well, they already know kind of like where your face is. So
yeah, that's probably really intensive though, to do at video speed. So anyway, that was the mobile app. That was me setting up my avatar, setting up a space. And then I have the Magic Leap recording here. Let's see. Spencer, would you rather just watch it this way?
Whatever, that's fine. Yeah,
okay.
That's cool.
So this is me in the Magic Leap. and I launched the. Use this. I launched Spatial, and the first thing it has you do is it has you log in, and so I picked me. You set the floor plane, and you pick a space. I just wanted to look to see what those other options were. So when you pick a space, it then asks you to set the floor plane. So it does this kind of interesting reticle thing, and then you just tap the floor, and then it asks you to pick your largest wall, which is, I don't have the prettiest wall, but I mean, I have
basement.
I have a really cool industrial loft wall.
Yes,
guys.
you do. Yeah.
So now I'm in the space, and then this is kind of the menu of stuff you can do, and I wanted to look at the settings because
you're a dork.
Yeah. Yeah. What kind of nerd goes to the settings first? The UI got stuck behind this, so I had to lean. I had to lean around the dialogue to hit cancel. So content. So that's the most important part. So they've got this kind of library of content, and then these are kind of like this Mars surface thing is like a subspace almost. So first it brings up this huge model of Mars. I think I closed it out here. Yeah, I should get rid of it. But you can see on the wall, there's all these references, all this reference material, and then there's this 3D model. So I moved it down out. You just use the bumper to grab it and move it out of the way.
So now, Paul, if I was in the, if I was using my ML1 from here or on the same Wi-Fi network, would you show up when I show up as avatars in the same space? Are they sharing the space and the avatar location?
Yes, you're sharing a virtual space, and actually, I think in this video I bring up a mirror. There's a mirror object to show you what your avatar looks like. It's a little funny, but they're definitely going for the more humanoid type avatar versus like what we've seen in Half and Half or The Wild or something where it's very stylized. Right. So yeah, you can see people as now. If we were in the same room, you mean like physically in the same room?
Yeah, I mean, how do they?
I'm pretty sure. Again, I didn't have another person to dance with on this one, but I'm pretty sure it recognizes that we're both in the same room, and so it wouldn't show your avatar to me, but anyone that's remote in the same spatial space would see both of our avatars, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does.
Which is what you'd want, right?
Right. Yeah, you don't want an avatar overlaid on top of you. So you're putting the rover down on top of your desk, and
and you can move this stuff however you want.
I like that. I like that. That's kind of nice. The way that
I think you see a little. They got a little Z fighting issue with the 2D stuff that you'll see in a second. You can make notes. I didn't actually figure out how to put anything on the note in this quick little thing, but you can tack it anywhere. The thing I liked a lot is it has a scribble tool or a drawing tool where you can annotate, and it's completely sixed off and spatial. But I couldn't figure out how to get out of that mode. I would get stuck in scribble mode. But I was going to pull some more. Here's the mirror. So I pull the mirror. See?
Whoa!
Yeah. It's kind of so that's what other people would see.
Except, were you actually using your left hand?
That was my right. That's my right. It's a mirror, so it was. That was correct. It was showing my right hand holding. Yeah.
No, if you look in a mirror, your right hand looks like a left hand.
My thumb is pointed to the left there, so that is a right hand.
But if you're pointing at it, and that's your right hand.
Yeah, sure.
It would be mirrored.
Sure, but it's showing my right hand, which is correct.
Okay.
But I don't know how it would know, though, honestly, if I was holding the controller in my left.
Right. Well,
it's assuming the right. It didn't let me set handedness or anything like that.
Okay. Right.
Let's see. I think I just played around a little bit more. I thought they keep the controls really simple. I think you can use the trigger and the bumper on the Magic Leap controller interchangeably, so it's pretty much a one-button thing.
Right.
I couldn't figure out how to scale the model down easily.
Right.
Like I'm sure in a 15-minute kind of training session they would totally.
Right. Yeah, you'd be able to get that. Right.
Yeah. So that's the marking tool. So I was just showing how you can mark in all degrees of freedom.
Are you choosing your Z depth when you're doing that?
It's just mapped to wherever your hand is on the controller.
So yes, so you are choosing your Z depth because you've got relatively good depth with the Magic Leap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then so this is the part I couldn't figure out was this done thing here. That's done scribbling, and I couldn't figure out how to get out of that. So that's where I ended the video. So I am super curious to try it with other people, obviously, but it is the thing that everybody we've talked about for a long time about. Hey, let's have a room that we all get together in and share this stuff.
Right. Well, and now more than ever, because we're all going to need to kind of chill out on meeting each other for a couple months at least, right?
Yeah, I mean, so the way they did it, I didn't show it, but the way I got the photo into Spatial was through the iPad app. So that's interesting, because we just talked about how do you get files on and off the Quest. I think it's going to be a little while before. I don't actually know how file management works on Magic Leap at the OS level. I'm just thinking about iOS. It was like a couple years ago they finally came out with the Files app, which would let you save and open stuff like a computer.
Right, which was fantastic.
Yeah, but I mean they didn't have it for the longest time, and there's obviously developer things you can do with copying files over, but I'm thinking about from the user perspective. So going through a mobile app is an interesting approach, and Oculus does have the iOS and Android companion app. But
right,
if you're really collaborating and you want to work intuitively, low friction, I want to be able to throw up a browser as quickly as I can here, like on my desktop setup. And
right,
if we're quick jamming and collaborating and talking about stuff, so I think probably you'd want it all loaded up.
That's one of the things that's a little frustrating about doing this show with you, honestly, is that you
don't get me started on the frustrating things about doing the show with you.
Is that you can put stuff up on the easily, like throw things up there and show people, and I'm pretty much relegated to that camera, and it would be cool if we both had the ability to show each other things like we do when we're talking on Slack or text and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that is the key. What? Oh, I interrupted you. What?
Yeah, I can be frustrated too, man.
You can be frustrated? Really?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Actually, this kind of ties into what we're like the workflow. Like we have all this technology available to us. We're very comfortable with it, obviously. We jump in and out of text chats all the time. There's been times where I've had a conversation going on with you through iMessage, Slack, and I think Signal all at the same time.
Right.
But we don't we barely get into video chat. Part of that's my fault because I don't like phone calls. But right. We've never jumped into like a 3D space to talk about something or look at something.
I'd like to actually maybe try that. Like if we can find a way to use hubs or to use one of these VR spatial things, because sometimes we're talking about stuff and
you're waving your hands.
Yeah, I'm waving my hands around. And I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to do this and show you what I'm talking about. Generally, it works best when I'm sitting in Cinema 4D and I can 3D model something really quickly and send you a screenshot of what I'm talking about. But
yeah. I mean, that's what some people. I mean, not as many as we'd like, but that's one of the reasons people use Torch, right? Because I can quickly knock together an idea and then send you the link, and you can open it. But there's still something to that dynamic of I'm not just sending you a link to open. I want to actually proctor the experience, or I want
Right.
I want to show it to you. I don't want you to look at you know. There's a difference there.
Mm-hmm.
If I send you a thing and you look at it, I don't get the chance to like be a part of that moment of you looking at something. If that makes
Right.
sense.
No, it does. When we go and do disc golf and talk about something while we're walking, when I say something to you that you find interesting, I can tell really quickly. And this is one of the problems with video chat in general, is that there is a lag, and sometimes a terrible lag, as we've just experienced. Those kind of micro little facial tics and stuff like that we don't pick up on in video.
Well, and I don't know. I mean, it's a
And
good
you're not going to get them in VR right now.
right. I was just gonna say it's a good thing our friend Cole Wiley is in the chat, because I think they're working on something related to that.
If only there was an inexpensive way to capture facial animation in real time. God, that would be really cool, wouldn't it?
I don't think it's possible. You'd have to be a genius to be able to do that. But yeah, I mean, we've always known that. Yeah, actually, we've known this from video games, right? It was. Do you remember the magic of seeing your first mocap animation versus like a hand animated one? Like just you just know in your bones when you like, even if it's just a digital skeleton playing back the data, you're like, that is a person did that.
Right. And the well, that is a person, right? And that's what I've always said about volumetric video, is that even though the quality, the surface quality isn't there yet, the kind of ephemeral, undescribable humanness of that movement is something you can't hide, and you can't fake very easily without lots and lots and lots of work.
I used to say that about the we had those beam robots at Magic Leap, the telepresence robots,
right?
And it's like you can tell a person's driving it, because like
Right.
they'll come in. First of all, they're like just the way it moves. But if it comes into a room and it pans to like try to look at people that are talking to them, and just the way it moves, you can tell that's a person moving that thing around. It's really funny.
Right, it hesitates, and then if someone bumps into something, you'll hear it say "oops,"
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think so. I think telepresence and collaboration, it's definitely gotten better. I really think, I mean, the bummer about the more I've been using the Magic Leap lately, and I've made no bones about using it again. I've realized how good it is. The biggest bummer is how much it costs and how many people have one. Like I can't count on people having one. But you get a glimpse. You can kind of feel how this stuff's going to go. Like I do want to jump into a spatial session with at least a couple other people in there and see what it feels like. I think you get some of that tertiary kind of humanness with the way people look around. I'm interested to see how they handle, like, if you're at your house and I'm at my house, but we're in the same space. I assume the relative positioning of my avatar to your real eyes is the same relative positioning for me. You know what I mean? Like if I'm to your left, if my avatar's to your left, that means your avatar's to my right. And
yeah, right, exactly.
That, I mean, it would have to work that way, right? So we could connect.
When I first tried the Wild, this was the first night I met Nick Lambert, and he put it on my head, and there was somebody back at the Wild across the river who was in the space, and she came up next to me as this like abstracted, kind of vaguely human form, and started talking to me. And she was a little too personally close for me. And her voice was kind of cute. And I was like, oh no, and I got that social kind of interaction thing where it was like, there's this pretty voice right next to me, and I really felt it, and I told her about that. I told Nick about it. I was like, oh my God, that was so cool. That I actually had, this kind of monkey reaction to a social cue that I'd never felt before in VR. So that same thing, with the AR stuff, I wonder how that would feel. Like if someone comes up really close to you in their,
I mean, you still have the spatial audio, so you still have that,
right?
That spatialized kind of location via audio, which I think is probably what triggered you. Like you're like, that is over
right,
there.
because she was in this ear.
Yeah,
she was not. She wasn't, just like randomly a voice of God. She was, she was there.
Did we talk? I can't remember from the past episode we talked about Max Weisel's half and half, but
yeah, a little bit. I think we talked about the size.
Oh, when we talked about our favorite VR stuff, but yeah I mean, so Max has a company called Normal VR, and they actually have a networking library for all this kind of collaborative, low latency spatial stuff called Norm Core. I know Norm Core is another thing, but anyway, Spencer and I and Josh and was it just the three of us? We jumped into a party in the Quest, and then we went to go play hide and seek and stuff. And in the lobby of Half and Half, so everybody just gets assigned these very amorphous, kind of blobby, humanoid shaped but very cartoony and stylized avatars. And we didn't realize it at first, but it's a very subtle thing that they do, which is because they know in the Quest your head height. They know if you're standing, and they know the head to the floor height, and so they know how tall you are. And so our avatars were relatively our physical heights.
I was looking up at Paul like this, and I was kind of looking straight ahead a little bit down at Josh, and then there were all these little tiny people running around, and we realized that they were kids.
Yeah, and you can't if they're not in the party, you can't talk to them, and you can't hear them, they can't hear you, but you can see each other in the lobby. And so we had these like little kids.
You can't even get close.
Yeah, and so
as you get closer, they disappear if you don't know them.
Yeah, I thought it was really clever way. I mean, it is interesting, this whole avatar. I always, I don't know about you, when I jump into an app where I build an avatar for whatever reason, I always try to build the most realistic one, and I get really frustrated when the options are limited. So, Magic Leap's social app has gotten a lot better. I remember the first time I used it had very little options. I was annoyed by it, but this time it's a lot better. The Quest, if you look at my Quest avatar, I've got like
you look like Ming of Mongo.
I've got like a big white beard, which I mean isn't too far off, but I've got like this. It was like the closest thing I could find to like gray hair and my I look like the grandpa Doctor
Strange.
Doctor Strange, yeah. But it's the closest I could get. And then other people are like, "Why are you trying to build your custom avatar? This is like your world where you can do anything you want." I don't know. It's interesting to think about what people like to do with their avatar. Do you go realistic?
I go realistic all the time.
Yeah.
I always do. And I've always been Spencer Lindsay ever since like the early 90s. I've always been at Spencer Lindsay. I've always been my name. I never have hidden behind any other.
Yeah, I've never wanted to do that.
But I'm finding that that comes with some consequences. Anyone on the net can find me because my name is Spencer Lindsay, and maybe I get more. Maybe I get more spam or weirdos. I don't know. But I'm pretty weird already, so maybe I just scare them.
But there's always that talk when you live in the magic glasses world, like, people will present their avatar, not their real face, and they'll be able to be whatever they want. And I don't know.
I want to be me.
Yeah.
I'm happy people knowing who I am and what I do. And Okay, so I have a quick. We're about out of time here.
It's fine.
But I wanted to say that next week, Cole, if you are still here, I would love to try. Cole has peeled off some hours from one of his engineers to help me put this office in the Hoxel system as an environment, and then put me as a live stream. And I would love it if, I mean, I'm not sure what the bandwidth requirements are for
More than you got,
console.
buddy.
Apparently. Well, but look now, I'm fine, right? Everything's great.
Sure.
You know? Sure, yeah, if you say so. But I'd love to do that. Is to do a volumetric video in a photogrammetry scanned environment and just have me be in that space for our show next week.
Oh, we didn't talk about. Out of all the stuff we talked about. Oh, Cole says they're ready.
Oh, nice, good.
We got our body scanned last week, and it's terrifying.
Yeah. Well, did you ever get the models?
No, I want to talk to them about us redoing it. So we visited some.
No, we look terrible. They're perfect.
No, we revisited some. We visited some friends, and they have a scanning closet that can do a full body scan in like 2 minutes.
Oh, less than that. Yeah, it was like it was less than a minute.
It was kind of like the airport scatter scan booth. And
right.
And we were not prepared for it. And I want to do a T-pose so we can rig ourselves up and we can animate it. And anyway, I was horrified by my skin. So I need to do a couple crunches, suck in my gut, wear some baggy clothes. I don't have enough
time to do crunches that would make me look better than I did.
Yeah, I want to redo it. But yeah, we could. I think it'd be fun on our website. By the way, the website xrtalk.net. If you go on a mobile device that's AR capable, you can put our logo into your real world, send us videos and screenshots. If you look at it on a VR device, you can actually go into the XR Talk world.
Walk around it.
You can walk around it, but I think that's where we maybe put as like an Easter egg, we put our bodies in there.
Right, and also make them downloadable.
They're technically downloadable already. Right. And then Todd was,
no Todd.
we'll get a better one. We'll get better ones. But then and then on the Magic Leap, you can pull the logo out of the web page. But that's what in the spatial video that I had pulled the logo out and put it on my desk. I'm still tinkering with that. I played around with that a little bit more this week. So I definitely want to, now that we've got that project behind us and I got a little more time, I want to start adding some more stuff. I want to get you involved, get you making some artwork for this stuff.
Yes, please. Yeah, now that I'm not going insane trying to get this project out, things are back to normal. I'm good. Let's go.
Normal. But I may kill Model Viewer. It's cool to quickly throw a model in a web page and have it work on AR and Magic Leap, but I'm finding I'm frustrated by how limited it is. And I think what I'd like to do is just have everything, whether you look at it on mobile, desktop, Magic Leap, or whatever, the page 3D view is all Babylon, which is what the desktop version is. And then there's a button to launch all the special AR stuff. So anyway, that's my little update on the website. So
then next week we'll have it'll be even cooler because we'll have we will have collaborated on it.
I hope so. So we're at our hour. Once again, I'm always shocked when we fill an hour. When we have no idea what we're going to talk about most of the time. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It helps us out quite a lot. If we get to 100 subscribers, I'll be able to change the channel name to something cool besides whatever crazy gobbledygook it is right now.
Yeah. Tell your friends.
Yeah. Oh. Whoa. Oh.
What?
I was accidentally playing our old video.
Oh.
And I could hear it. So please subscribe. We're on Twitter as XR Talk. xrtalk.net is the website with all the fun stuff that I just talked about that I'm working on. Please jump in the Discord chat. Every week we get some interesting conversations happening there. We love building up a little community. We've got a great little community of people actually working on this stuff, which is perfect, which is exactly what I was looking for. Todd, who it just commented in the chat, is one of those people. So we want to be a little community of people helping each other out, talking about how to build this stuff for real, what's actually possible, and kind of just explore all this new stuff together. So that's what we're all about.
You'll notice in the comments section that Charles was asking if you have a pair of Spanx, and the reason that he's not asking if I have a pair of Spanx is because he knows I do.
You do?
Yeah.
I do not. I just suck it in, man.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, there's a lot of. There we go.
Yeah, how long does the scan take? Because I don't know if I can hold my breath that long. It's pretty fast. So, well, this was super fun. Thanks so much to everyone that joined live. If you're watching this late after the fact. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention to you before we started, Spencer. We have a few people that listen to this audio only. So I need to remind myself that not everybody can see what we see, and we need to become narrators of the visual content.
Narrators of the visual content.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do that. Yeah.
Oh,
I need to get my microphone fixed up.
Let me play. I'm going to just pick random because I don't actually remember. No, I remember. I think this is the one most people said they liked. So this will be our sign off music for everyone.
XR Talk with Paul and Spencer.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys.